Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to do a little camper tour and how we're making it work living with two kids, 2 and under, in our camper. I wanted to do this video right off the bat because it's obviously a big part of our journey, but I also didn't find a lot of videos like walking through how people organize things and how people make it work with 2 kids. So we are in a 29-foot trailer. It's a Cougar Keystone. We have a bunkhouse. So this is our bedroom. My husband and I's. We have his and her closets, and then we have up here storage space. So we have our shirts, and then we have like socks, underwear, and extra pants up here. And then we each kind of have our own nightstand, which is just the carpeted area on the side. One of my biggest questions when we first moved in here was, is there going to be enough storage? So obviously we lived in a 3-bedroom house. We had to get rid of a lot of stuff, but honestly, storage has not been a problem for us. I will say that we are living on my mother-in-law's property, so we have her house right next to us. We don't have any water running through this, so we do bring the water to us in 3-gallon jugs, and it's not that big of a deal. We walk back and forth all day anyways. So it was really important to us to have the bunkhouse so that my toddler could have his own bedroom, but honestly, he ended up sleeping with us anyways. A couple nights I was getting my baby ready for bed, and he kind of snuck in here with Daddy because Daddy goes to bed early because he wakes up early for work. And so we both kind of secretly loved it, so we kept letting it happen, and now he just sleeps in bed with us. So he still does have his own room with his books and his toys and everything. I will show you guys that in a minute. I will say when we get a house or a bigger camper eventually, the main things in this room that we would change is having a king-size bed. And that wouldn't have been necessary if we didn't have our toddler sleeping with us. But that's going to be necessary whether we live in a house or not. And then the other part is we did put our queen size bed in here, so it's not the mattress that came with the camper. So that makes it so there's barely any space at the end of the bed. So when you walk around the bed, the door bangs into the wall, and that can be very frustrating, especially in the middle of the night when I'm getting up to go with the baby. It can be really annoying. So a space at the end of the bed and a bigger bed would be our 2 non-negotiables if we were to do this again. All right, let's move on. I will say, as far as space, we did get rid of a lot of clothes, and we have our off-season clothes in totes, but I feel like there's way more than enough storage in here for all of our needs. We do have a big closet in my son's room, so that is where we store all of our coats since it's winter right now. Okay, so this is the camper. Let me just show you guys around. Since it is winter, we do have a heater going and our boots. And this is the kitchen. I have some microgreens growing, which is going to be my next video for you guys. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I have a tea kettle, but if you're a coffee drinker, you could easily fit a coffee maker on here. So since I do live right next to my mother-in-law, we spend a lot of time in her house, but we spend probably the first 3 or 4 hours of the day in the camper. So we do make breakfast in here, and then we have lunch and dinner in my mother-in-law's house. That we started out having lunch and dinner in here, and it's just way too many dishes back and forth. You can hear the banging on the wall right now because the door is so close to the bed. So there you go, Oliver. All right, so this is our tote to bring dishes back and forth. So that is how we do that. And then we have our couch here. This is where I nurse my son in the middle of the night or right before bed. This is my 7-month-old's crib. We moved in here when he was about 1 month old, and we had a bassinet at first. But this crib, I will show you guys in a minute, is kind of the bread and butter of why we are able to live in this space, because obviously the kitchen is not usable how it is right now. So let me show you guys how this crib works. Okay, so this is the crib. This just pulls out like this, and I fold it up and I put it in the back room. And then for this just pulls up, and then I put this in the back room as well. Now we have an open kitchen area. So if you have kids, I highly suggest doing that, because without it, I don't know how we would have both my sons in here. So this is the kitchen. Like I said, we really only cook breakfast in here, so we do have the oven and the stovetop running with propane, and it works great. I do want to mention, since it's winter right now, we have 2 little heaters going, and that covers us for most of the time. One night Actually, 2 nights it got down to -6 at night, and the little heaters did not pump out enough heat, and so the propane did kick on then, and that is what kept the house warm enough for us to sleep in here. 2 nights of it being -6 degrees, we burnt through a whole thing of propane in 2 nights. So that is not super cost effective to do it that way, but it is a good backup to have on those nights it does get super cold. Otherwise, the 2 heaters are more than enough for us. I do also want to mention with having the baby, it's kind of important to keep the temperature warmer than if it was just our toddler and me and my husband. So keeping the temperature in here can be kind of difficult. If you're running it just off propane, it's not so bad because there's a thermostat, but with the 2 little heaters, I don't know, they never turn off when they're supposed to. So depending on how hot or cold it is outside, we set the gauge, and then when it gets warmer, it seems like it's always way too hot in here. There is a lot of messing with the heat, I will say that, but it's not like any reason that we couldn't do this. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how we use our storage here. So this is one of our medicine cabinets. Of course, we have medicine in one side, and then we have tools and cleaning supplies on the other. This TV on here swivels around. We do have the Roku set up to it, but we almost never watch TV in here. I will show you guys this drawer. When we first moved in here, there was an air mattress under here, and that is how you set the couch up into a bed. But we took out the air mattress, and we are using it to store my baby's clothes. So we have his clothes, we do cloth diaper, and then we have some kitchen towels and rags and stuff. You'll have to forgive me, it's a little messy over here, but I do have my clothes that I'll put on for the day, as well as a diaper caddy. And then under the table, there's more storage. And more storage and our second little space heater. All right, then we have shoe storage in there. And then this is our pantry. We do only cook 1 meal a day in here, so we don't have to keep it super stocked, but I will show you guys. We just have some canned food, baby food, and miscellaneous. If you guys are wanting to do the camper full-time and you're not living next to somebody whose house you can go into all the time, my mother-in-law is super great about us going into her house. So we do spend a lot of time in there. But if you were to cook full-time in here, I would definitely recommend just getting an Instant Pot, and that would be a really good fix for just having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in here. And then obviously if you had running water, it'd be a lot easier to wash your dishes. We do have a microwave, and then we do put our fridge to use. So with limited space, it's obviously important to take advantage of all of the space that you have in your house. So I do things like using this as I use this as a holder for my baby carrier, and then we take advantage of this space for our spices. Okay, onto the bathroom. We do use this more for storage. I have laundry and our cloth diaper laundry in there. All right, and then onto the bunkhouse. So we use the upper 2 bunks for storage. We have some food storage. I have some books, tea. This is my son's blankets and such, more books. And then I have toy storage. And this is where we store the crib, as well as this part of the crib. When we first started out in here, it was really important for my husband that my son had a place to play, so we didn't have the table set up. But since I'm usually the one that's in here in the mornings with the kids, he never plays in here. He never plays in here by himself. He always wants to be out there with us. Obviously, he's a kid. So I ended up putting the table in here so that I could get my work done while my son was sleeping in the kitchen area. And like I said, my toddler sleeps with us. So this room is not used at night. So I use this as my workspace while everybody else is sleeping. I took advantage of the space because there's no wasted space in the camper, right? So let's talk about this. This is amazing. I have his clothes here. I have pants and shirts, underwear and socks. And then I have my coats, his coats, and baby coats. So this is awesome. And then here's his little bed. Like I said, he doesn't sleep in here anymore, but oh well. So really quick, I just want to talk about pros and cons and if I would do this again. I think I definitely would do this again. The only difference as far as budget and saving more for our homestead is we would be paying for daycare and we would be paying for a house. So really the advantages of being able to be a stay-at-home mom while we save for our homestead is really important to me. I would say the hardest part of living in the camper, honestly, is having the two houses. While the two houses is super nice, it's nice to be able to go into the house and have a bigger space to hang out. It's really hard as far as like remembering, like when I cook breakfast in the morning, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't have a spatula. I have to go back into the house to get the spatula. And it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it is a big deal when it happens 20, 30 times a day. It'd be easier to just have everything set up in here. A large part of the reason we spend so much time in the house is because my son loves my mother-in-law. He loves his Nana, so we spend a lot of time in there because he likes to be with her. But we do spend a good portion of the morning in here because I want to give her a little break as well. Because while toddlers are fun, they can be crazy. So what else? Like I said, as far as having the baby in here, I think that was my biggest question when we moved in here, is how am I going to make it work with a baby? And I think the two things is having somewhere for him to sleep. And so having that crib, like I showed you, just be able to pop up and down has been the biggest thing as far as making this work. And then the last thing that I was worried about was space and not having enough storage for everything. And I will say with this, it's a 29-foot trailer. I don't feel like space is an issue, really. I do have the bunkhouse, and that's where we keep most of our stuff. But if we didn't have our mother-in-law's house here, I would say we still have enough storage, because I do honestly have a lot of storage space that is going unused just because it's not super accessible. So things like off-season clothes and things like that, we could put in the cargo areas and it would be totally fine. So if you like this video, please give me a like. And if you want more content like this, definitely give me a follow. I'll be doing more camper living. As far as starting my first garden this year, I'm going to be getting a microgreens episode up next week. So yeah, give me a follow if you want to, and I will see you guys next time.